Chief Innovation Officer and the Chief Technological Officer of MAS Holdings. We've got Ranil Vitarana in the studio. Good evening.
Good evening.
Hi, Ranil. Great to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome to a crazy show.
It will get a little bit more crazy.
It will, for sure.
We are counting on it. In fact, we were having a wonderful pre-chat before the show started about all loves lost and, to all the girls we've loved before.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
On that note.
There's never been anyone before. What am I talking about?
The biggest blunders are made always on TV. So we've got a great show lined up for you, ladies and gentlemen. And of course, don't forget, if you want to send in your questions for Ranil, by all means, you got the question, you got the number coming up on your screen right now, as you can see. 077-669-1590. And remember, straight up, whatever the question it is, we will have it for you.
Absolutely. And as usual, we do have a poll today. And of course, the poll is very much geared on the topic that we're going to have this discussion about. So without further ado, let's get into it right after these messages from our sponsors.
Welcome to the universe of the Raz, where you explore and discover whatever you want, whatever you need. All you can imagine is on your feet. When miles are abridged, happiness is unlocked. Discover your Daraj.
A meal isn't just food. It's hope, nourishment, and love. And right now, we need it all. Presenting Love Uber Eats, a platform to donate essential items to those in need. Send preset ration packs on Uber Eats, and we will match every donation and deliver it with love.
Corporate events, weddings, concerts, or simply getting fuel with the QR code. Let us help you take your big day to the world with a professional broadcast to Facebook, YouTube, Zoom, MS Teams, or your website at the most affordable rates. So give us a call and let's go live. PodHub.
And we're back. And without further ado, today's poll is this, very, very relevant to what we're going to talk about. Do international awards for large Sri Lankan corporate entities translate into increased foreign currency income to the nation? Yes or no answers only. Please WhatsApp your answers to our hotline number. That's 077-669-1590. And at the end of the show, just before the end of the show, we will reveal the responses as they stand. Ranil, don't answer this right now. We will get into it at that point, because otherwise you might influence the actual answers coming in.
Maybe hopefully they'll get something.
We've got lots obviously watching us on TV and taking part in the poll. So send it in to us. The number 077-669-1590. Diving deep into the conversation with Ranil on the show with us. Firstly, congratulations to you and the Twinery team for being in the Fast Company list of best workplaces for innovators. Before we get into the recognition, so to say, for our viewers who are actually watching us right now, what does Twinery do? It's coined nicely. It rolls off your tongue.
Very nice.
Twinery.
Absolutely.
What do you guys do?
Yeah.
Okay, so Twinery is the innovation arm of MAS. And so, as you know, MAS is a sort of 30-odd-year-old company. And as when you have, let's say, standalone companies that are used to doing what they know how to do, when you want to be innovative or you're trying to create a different culture, so what MAS did was created a different company.
Right.
And we wanted to create a different sort of identity that really helped us to show everyone that this was a different entity, that we were expecting people to behave differently, be a lot more innovative, etc. And so that's how we sort of set it up.
Yeah.
Wow.
So innovation in terms of work ethic, is it?
It's about outlook. So if you look at just like if you talk about traditional companies, you're constantly obviously trying to be better tomorrow than you were today.
Yeah.
But you try to do it within your wheelhouse, as it were, right? You're trying to be a little bit faster, a little bit
Correct.
cheaper, a little bit more productive and stuff like that. when it came to the reason we were set up was that we really challenge the way things are done now and how can we do it so much better.
Right.
Right. So that's sort of the, I would say the
pillars?
not
the
pillars,
roots?
that's sort of the
ethos of-
impact and the
yeah.
ethos of
Right,
what we have
right,
been
right.
expected to do. So challenge everything, see how we can do things very, very differently.
Absolutely. මට ට්වයිනරි කියලා කියපු ගමන් රනිල් ඔලුවට එන්නේ කවුරු නිකන් දෙන්නෙක් නිකන් ඇලි ගැලි ඉන්න නිකන්
In Twinery.
නිකන් ගහකින් වැටිලා නෑ but you know wonderful because it really rolls off the tongue nicely.
Yes, it does.
And
It does.
yeah, it works.
So,
you
so
know?
it was actually coined with two words, twine as in
Yeah,
thread,
what you work
Right,
with, yeah.
right.
Yeah.
and a refinery.
Oh,
as,
right,
as a
right.
place that you can like, so you bring that
wow.
together and so something creative and yeah.
Somehow I identify more with refinery. Welcome.
Tell us more about the Fast Company. And of course, I know it started as a magazine many years ago. It
Yeah.
went through a lot of changes. Now it's a multi-billion-dollar business itself. And why is it looked highly upon by innovators?
Absolutely.
So not just innovators, it is sort of, it stood for creating this sort of benchmark
Right.
for different areas. So it might be the top 100 places to work in the world.
Right,
right.
So top innovative companies, top companies for innovators to work in, which is a lot more about the culture.
Right.
And so that sort of helps companies sort of set up a benchmark and really attract people to come and
Yeah,
work.
like-minded
for, et cetera.
people to kind of, yeah,
exactly. And
yeah.
it's more modern day in that Fast Company is considered to be much more woke.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? So it's much more. So it's not like I don't know Thomson Reuters ranking the top 10 companies
Right.
or the top 50 companies or
Right.
something like that. It's a little bit different to that. It's much more around the work ethic, the culture,
Absolutely.
things like that. So it's a lot more, I think, relevant to people who are trying to find where to work, who to work
Got
with,
it, got
etc.
it.
things.
But would you say that they are like the top ranked, you know, it's the go-to when it comes to, you know, looking for what you're looking for?
So I think in our field, where we are trying to create that culture of excitement and where people can really express themselves
Right.
and that freedom to operate in and, you know, all those sort of things that you try to create in an innovation organization.
Right.
So from that perspective, or if you're in a sort of entrepreneurial sort of entity and you're trying to create that, then Fast Company is really the place to go to.
Right, right.
So, I mean, among the top 100, Twinery is placed 18th.
That's right.
That's a massive achievement. But what does it actually mean to you
Right.
and the team?
Okay, so if you sort of let me sort of go a little bit to the past, I think
Sure,
we
of
never
course.
set up to win an award.
Right.
That was not really anything that we did. We've been doing what we do for a long period of time, and then over that period of time, we've also been trying to create this culture that enables people to come and really bring out their entrepreneurial side. We try to create a culture where people can question anyone and everyone in the organization. We try to keep a flat structure and, you know, all those sort of things. And honestly, when we sort of put our name up there as, you know, wanting to be sort of ranked in that, we were not really hoping to be even in the top 100. We were just trying to see what might be a benchmark.
Right.
So this is the first time that we ever, you know, went for it. And lo and behold, you know, we came out 18th, which is truly a surprise. I would have been happy if I was 99th or, you know, if we were sort of in the 100th. We
Within the 100, yeah.
We would have been really thrilled by that. But coming up so high really meant a lot, not just for me or for MS, but just for everyone who works there, because we are, you know, we are a knowledge hub, right? So
Right.
it is to do with each and every individual's capability and contribution, and so it meant so much more.
Right.
To get recognized as everyone and everyone's contribution to that, creating that culture of.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, that's great. Who's number one?
It's actually a medtech company. A little heard of medtech companies. Some of the bigger companies are there. Couple ahead of us, but
okay,
a lot of them are behind us.
Oh, right. Please tell me, like Google and all were number 19 or something.
Yeah, they were all behind us.
That's even better.
That is what you call death with a plastic fork.
That was quite exciting.
Right.
Sure.
So as part of us creating, when we wanted to create innovation at MAS. We thought let's go to the mecca of innovation, right, and try and understand what this word innovation means.
Right.
So in 2013, we went on this trip. We went to Silicon Valley, went and visited Google, and went and saw all their restaurants where they get the free food and all that stuff. And
taught yourself one day.
We still don't do it like that, but still, saw sort of all these progressive companies at the time, and then visited not so progressive companies like 3M, HP, various companies, even Sun Microsystems that don't exist anymore.
Yeah,
and sort of visited all these companies, try and understand what do they do. In order to become creative, what is the environment that you have to create in an organization to make it innovative?
Right.
And we had to really decide whether we wanted an innovation department or whether we wanted an innovation company.
Right.
And lots of people have an innovation department.
Yeah.
And that sort of exists within the confines of those boxes that are created within a traditional company. So we sort of said, no, let's create a separate entity. Let's make sure that we structure it right. We get the measures right. We get the right kind of people.
Yeah.
Different kinds of thinking. People who will challenge us, etc. So bringing all that together and knowing that in that benchmark we are also still there somewhere in the top.
Right. It's incredible.
it's and especially I wrote something on LinkedIn recently, which I said, winning where we have no right to.
Right.
If you talk about Sri Lanka,
sounds like a politician. Sounds like the government, the subsequent governments.
No, that's the opposition. No right to.
Well, everybody. Anyway, sorry, carry on.
True. But it was that, no one thinks about Sri Lanka as a country where you get innovation coming out of. Apparel industry is also not known for
constantly innovating anything.
Right? Because we are always thought of as working at this very low margins, and things like that, no money to put into. So our budgets are not like Google's budgets or Microsoft budgets or anything like that. Then apart from that, being compared across every industry in the world, right? So you could be in medtech, you could be in the high-tech industries, electronic industries.
Yeah.
So having all of them and you're being put into that same bucket, and just being able to even be in that bucket is a big thing. But then to come up this high, I think is amazing.
Absolutely.
It just talks about the capability in this country, the people who are there, and how we can fight against the.
And actually, freedom to operate within a very large corporate entity like that, to in fact win an innovative kudos, what I mean, like that whole plaque of innovation on that's amazing thing, right? But I just want to ask you, Ranil, just a little bit before you won this award, what kind of teeth did your, company, Twinery, have with regards to the group, and how has that changed subsequent to the award?
Okay. So if you say from 20, I started the innovation journey in 2006 at MAS. 2013 is when we really made it mainstream and part of like a corporate strategy.
Right. Yeah.
Since then, obviously, innovation takes a little bit of time to have its wins and bring the wins into the business and all that. And over the last, I would say, last 3 to 4 years, we've really managed to establish ourselves within the organization, primarily because we have given really good returns to the company.
Okay.
Right? We've given some big wins. We positioned the company internationally as something, at least in our industry, to be recognized as a company that's innovative. Also, in some of the other industries, we've gone into like the electronics industry and as well as medical and things like that. They think that we are innovative in the way we bring solutions and things like that. So I would say fairly relatively established. We only won this, end of July, early August. I have my budgets coming up at the end of this week. I will know how it has...
Perfect timing, I tell you.
I'll know how it has impacted the thinking in the organization. But so far, people are obviously thrilled. Even for MAS, operating for 35 years out of Sri Lanka has not been easy. Right? There's been a lot of things that are not in favor of us, being in this island and being, successful.
Right.
We don't have, we are not necessarily the center for raw material. We are not the center for cheap labor.
Right.
We don't have a big labor pool either.
Right.
And so within those confines to really create and establish it within Sri Lanka, such a large organization that with our customer partners, that we have such a high regard within those customer partners has been something that is really, I would say, something great that we achieved. And so that's where innovation really was the differentiator that we could bring. Like pre-2000, when, I'm talking about the quota era and things like that, at that time, we were, the industry was a sweatshop. I mean, it was chasing cheap labor. It was going from country to country as labor became cheaper. MAS really tried to carve out something very different there. They wanted to be known for everything ethical at the time. So no child labor. Overtime payments, we gave free meals, we gave free transport to people.
Correct.
We air-conditioned factories. All those were very new at that point.
Right.
In the industry globally.
Right.
And so therefore, we've always tried to differentiate ourselves by creating differentiation amongst our peers.
Right.
And innovation then became a part of it about 2006, where we started saying, yes, we needed to now bring this in. Over the years, we've allowed our customers literally to win in their market through what we were innovating in, whether it was the product that we had, Olympians wearing it, cyclists, various tennis players. Today, if you saw the finals, at least one of the two players are wearing something that we have created. Football teams, rugby teams, all those things that are wearing product that we have created, and technology that we brought to them. And so that differentiation is sort of, I would say, is part of our culture. And this was then done to try and, take that to another level.
Well, just before we'll get into what I have to ask you as to why you really are not making a big noise about the stuff that you have. I mean, if anybody is within or anyone who knows individuals at MAS, then we know that this was created. We know that, for the Olympics or even for swimming or whatever it is. I just don't understand why you don't want to let Sri Lanka know about it.
Is it not relevant to...
It should be. I mean, it's ours, isn't it?
I'm just asking,
Yeah, I think MAS has always, I think as a company, tried to be a little under the radar in terms of, what we do. I think it always paid off not to be
Not to shout too loudly about
exactly anything that you did. I think historically, so therefore we've always been that company that really got on with what we had to do and really not really shouted about it too much.
පඩි ගෙවන්නෙත් එහෙමද කියන්නේ මිස්ටර් අමලින් රැට හොරෙන් ඇවිල්ලා දෙන්න කුට්ටියක් තිබ්බා මං ගියා
Actually, surprisingly, that never happened. I have examples, but I don't want to go there. But
no.
This thing, unfortunately, it's never been the practice.
Thank God.
No, but I mean, I think it's a huge thing because especially at a time, maybe not in the past, but maybe now.
Right now, we need wins.
Exactly.
As a nation. Right?
Yes, as a nation. I mean, we should let the world know we are capable of doing this. We did this. We're still doing it. And look at. I mean, I'm sure your customers around the world know, but I think the world in general should know about Sri Lanka and the capabilities.
And in fact, we were talking to a guest just a couple of weeks ago about nation branding.
Yes.
So having something like this is a fantastic pillar to build on.
It's huge. I mean,
for sure. It's also one of the things that I keep talking about. So just everything that's happening nowadays and a lot of our talent wanting to leave the country. Especially at Twinery, we have some of the best engineers in the country, best scientists in the country, and these guys can get a job, leave the country at a sort of a moment's notice. And that is one problem we have. Second one is a lot of large brands are also looking at poaching our people. So so we lose people there. So one of the reasons that I actually wanted to even apply for Fast Company was that we wanted to let people know that you could be living in Sri Lanka and still internationally be recognized and be impactful.
Right.
So, I mean, just to put some stats for you. So last year and the year before, we won this award, which was done by a company called Clarivate, which is the former Thomson Reuters.
Right.
They recognized the top 29, I don't know why 29, but most innovative companies and universities, etc. In South and Southeast Asia. So that's from Japan all the way through to India. And we were one of the 29 in both those years.
Oh, wow.
Right? We were the only Sri Lankan company. The others were like Tata, Reliance was there. There was Japanese companies. There was Chinese companies, etc. And we were one of those companies. And that is an independent study based on the patents that we apply for. How many people are searching for those patents, and how many people are citing our patents in other stuff and all that.
Right.
And so that meant that at that invention style, not just the innovation part, that we were sort of recognized globally as well, and we were sort of standing out amongst those people. So that was for me also important to make sure that these people had could stay back in Sri Lanka and still work and achieve something for themselves.
Absolutely. And also justify it. And justify it. I hope this is a big chunky award because you can just keep it on your table. Exit interviews it's the best film Oscar right there. Video calls Peter Kasan
let's just quickly jump into that question that came from one of our
Vishaka,
viewers on the show right now.
That's right. So Vishaka asked this: what are your company's innovations so far in 2022?
So Vishaka, can I answer you maybe a little bit before 2022, just because things are confidential right now?
I was just about to ask you, are you in a position to actually say it?
So maybe take it a little bit before, and again, if you indulge me, I'll take a little bit of time talking about it. So the first one was way back in 2013. We actually worked on silicon as a material, how we could bring it into apparel. It came and we managed to. It's patented and we own the rights to those patents, and so as a result, we brought that technology into market. That technology went into Olympic suits. It went into cycling because it made people actually be faster.
Yeah.
Right.
All the short distance Olympic events, they were wearing it because it gave them a sort of slight advantage. We had it in the Rugby World Cup. We then had it in multiple other like regular clothing, as it were.
Right.
That generated about almost $1 billion in top line sales for us in across that time span,
Right.
over about 10-year period. Similarly, in again 2013, we started working on this technology. 2016 or so, it sort of started coming out, where we wanted to integrate electronics into textiles, into clothing.
Right.
It might be like, okay, so what's really the big problem about that? But the issue is when you start wearing clothing, you want to treat clothing like you normally would.
Right.
So you would wear it, throw it in your, dirty clothes basket,
Yeah.
or the corner of your table,
Yeah,
or, wherever you throw your clothes.
Usually a chair for us.
Your preference.
And then sort of you might have more clothes piling up.
Right,
And that
right.
piece of clothing at the bottom might still be wet.
Yeah.
Then you eventually take it, put it into a washing machine. That has water, soap. It has all these things like falling on it simultaneously. Then you might take that out, put it into a tumble dryer.
Yeah.
That has high heat, goes at about 16,000 RPM or something, and it creates about 20,000 volts of static electricity inside there.
Oh, right.
Now, so putting electronics into a piece of clothing, you can't take your, phone or your any other electronics and do that with
Right,
it, right?
yeah.
right.
It won't survive.
Yeah.
So we had to make sure that it survived all that. And so once we started establishing that and showing that we could do it, then we started working with much larger companies than us who are in this industry, to start showing them, here, we can do this. You can start converting these hard plastic goods into soft goods.
Right.
Your medical products, you can make that a much more user-friendly experience.
Right.
And take a lot of bulk out of it. Your AR, VR goggles, things like that. You can start making those a lot more user-friendly and things like that. So that was another area where we sort of started working on. We have quite a few patents on that area. We have a few products in the market. There's a lot more that we're working on.
Right.
So things like that are sort of, I would say, things that we've been working on. We have some exciting stuff that's actually coming through right now. Unfortunately, Visakha, I'm not at liberty to say, talk about it, but maybe hopefully soon.
Geez, Ranil, I have no idea why this is not coming out.
That's what I'm saying. This is why this is not communicated.
This is ridiculous.
You should do PR articles on a regular basis.
Do you have a PR company?
Are you offering your services?
I would love to, just simply because, it positions Sri Lanka in such a positive light. And the thing is, like I said, we need the wins right now. I mean, we've needed the wins for a long time. We were living on borrowed time. It's come to a head now, and we really need these wins. At least just to prevent people from just leaving the country, think the grass is always green on that other side.
Yeah.
It's just that look, there's plenty of innovation here, there's plenty of talent here. It's just mismanagement that's led to this, So I think we need the wins just for people to at least say, because lots of people living abroad, Sri Lankans living abroad, ask you, what are you still doing here?
That's true.
Both of us ask the same question. I'm sure you ask this question too,
Yeah,
right? And then they say, at least for your children, leave now. I said, no, because I know that there is this talent pool here and innovation here.
For sure. And maybe it's not as widespread as it ought to be.
Right.
But definitely the talent exists.
Yeah.
So anyone who wants to do it actually can do that relatively easily. One of the other advantages we have in the apparel industry in Sri Lanka is that in Sri Lanka, the apparel industry is still about the third favorite industry to go into. Probably, right?
Yes.
So we are able to attract high-end talent to come in and join our industry. if you go to somewhere like India, I think it's 18th in the ranking of
right.
where people, a young person would
Prefer to work to, yeah.
Yeah. So we have that really advantage. And so even, people think that apparel is a low-tech industry. I completely disagree with that.
That's because people don't know, Ranil. Because even today, when you actually talk about garments, when you talk about garment factories, that perception that's given is, factory girls sitting there knitting something.
Absolutely.
That's the industry.
I think the first problem is that we call them garment factories.
There you go.
Yeah, because I think that because it's beyond that now.
Yeah.
It's way beyond.
It's beyond sweatshops.
Yeah.
Way
Sweats
beyond.
in our factories for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
Nobody sweats. Because in fact, even if you don't have the air conditioning, MA has developed the material that don't make you sweat. Yeah, it's done. It was done some time ago. You don't sweat. It's just a shock now.
That's so true.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so from a Sri Lankan perspective, I think when in say 2002, 2004, that kind of time, where the quota era had just ended and the industry was, we didn't have manufacturing, raw material manufacturing in the country. We were really looking at trying to understand, is there a future in this industry? Is there really opportunity? So at that point, I was also trying to understand, okay, what's really the USP of this country?
Right.
Right? And how do we build on our USP? And so when I looked at it, you had countries like India that had really hardworking people who were skilled.
Yeah.
Right? If you had a engineer from Moratuwa, you had similarly, 17 times that coming out of Indian university.
That's true. Standing in line.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And they were possibly cheaper at that time. And then, so how do we differentiate ourselves? And so what I found was that because we were an island nation and because we didn't have to really compete for food, and you know what I mean? India, people are very competitive, and the way they, their life is all about competing to get there. That builds a certain character in you, which is about fighting and always like non-stop.
Yeah.
Whereas in Sri Lanka, we are a little bit more relaxed.
Yeah.
As a result, we are also a lot more creative.
Absolutely.
Right.
I think we're nicer too,
So I have a lot of Indian colleagues. I have to say
I said it, not Ranil. I said.
So in that context, you're trying to say, okay, how do we then convert that into a USP for our organization that can help differentiate us? And that's why we sort of felt that innovation, design, those are areas that creativity is really important. And those are areas that we can differentiate ourselves. So we don't literally compete in that low-end market, things like that. So how do you bring value into the...
Getting back, sorry, Anu. Getting back to basically the Fast Company, the recognition though, before we move away from the other stuff that we have, what were the parameters that were considered going into and for you to apply for the Fast Company recognition?
Yeah, because I mean, there are companies from like across the board, as it were. Right?
Yeah, and it's
so
not,
what kind of criteria could they possibly?
It's different industries altogether.
That's right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it talks about three different areas. So one is around your innovativeness to begin with. So are you an innovative company? What have you done? So in our case, we had the patent portfolio that we had applied for.
Right.
Then we had a diverse sort of area that we were working on. So we had developed this thing for Femtech, which maybe we'll talk about later. And Femtech was about empowering women and that whole thing there. Then we had the wearable technology side. Then we have a whole bunch of work that we're doing on sustainability. Around sustainable materials, around recycling, a lot of those things that are important. Then we had about the work culture.
Right.
So that was about how we measure people, how we set goals and standards. And then the third was about us actually being able to commercialize what we do here. So is the reality of the innovation becoming really going into market. So across all of those three, obviously we seem to have done pretty well.
Yeah.
So that was the
parameters
parameters that were used.
Sorry, Anu, what were you going to say?
No, actually, I just wanted to ask, now obviously you are setting innovative new standards for MAS to follow, that can actually translate into more money, obviously, and also easing the lives of people employed, all stakeholders of MAS, right? So now MAS also has a strategy of expanding globally. So are these same kind of strategies adopted throughout the MAS group, or is it just in Sri Lanka at this point?
So the way we are structured today, and we are changing the way we are structured as we move forward.
Yeah.
So the way we are structured today, nerve center is in Colombo in Sri Lanka. So our our design facilities, our tech things, our innovation teams all actually lie within Sri Lanka, and it's our manufacturing facilities that are in these different countries. So all the marketing, all the customer facing things, majority, I would say 98% of that is all done out of Sri Lanka.
Right.
And then we sort of farm it out into different regions
Whatever facility,
and Sri Lanka for various reasons.
Yeah.
However, we feel that as we now have sort of established in India, Indonesia, those are countries in which there is quite good facilities and resources and things like that in those countries that we can utilize. So IIT India, for instance, is really looking forward to working with someone in this textile, because they have a fairly large textile innovation team.
Right.
They don't have people that they can commercialize stuff with. So historically, we've been looking for our technology maybe in Sri Lanka, but also outside.
Yeah, right? So local partners there, which makes more sense, because their realities are a little different to ours.
Yes, and we can buy tech from them. We can ask them to do the kind of work we do.
Yeah.
Anyway, as part of our thing, we work with global universities we farm out our research to them.
Right.
And with research institutes as well, globally, testing institutes, because sometimes when we go into something new, we have to create the testing standard for it because it's first to the world, right? So we have been dealing a lot more, I would say, further out, but we sort of see now that, where we are established now, we can also start building relationships and start utilizing their scientific and talent pools and things like that. So that might be in the future.
Shehan asked this question. When you consider your accomplishments, what are you most proud of?
I thought you'll ask me that question. Can I give two answers?
Yeah, sure.
Of course.
So I think one is this Fast Company Award.
Yeah.
Because today our entire company is the Twinery. Every employee is actually a Sri Lankan.
Yeah. Right. Wow. Every employee.
Every employee is a Sri Lankan. A few years ago, we had maybe 4 or 5,
foreign consultants.
Foreigners who had come to work for us.
Right.
I'm very proud of that because of what we've achieved and what we put ourselves on the map as a truly, I would say, a Sri Lankan effort.
Yeah.
Right. And even if I'm saying this, even if we don't achieve anything in the next 4 or 5 years in terms of recognition, for me, I think this is really benchmarked ourselves and really proved that we are up there. And so that's
video calls, video Zoom meetings.
Take it for board meetings.
What are you resting your hand on, Ranil? Oh, this little thing.
You must take it for your budget meeting.
Absolutely.
Since it's coming up.
It's actually on the first slide. It's there. Right there.
That should be your only slide.
And please approve it. Unfortunately, maybe I'll try it. I'll let you know whether it works or not. Sorry, I forget the second one.
Right.
So I would say second one would be as a organization and this industry. I think people didn't believe that this industry could be anything innovative.
Yeah, right.
and it was always known for like basic products, and you're just trying to be cheaper and cheaper. I think what we've shown is that we can take this the textile. I believe that textile, I always say this, textile is the most versatile material in the world, right?
Yeah.
And I'll tell you why. You can literally gale gahan, right?
Yeah.
And it survives.
Right.
You can wash it every day and wear it for 20 years. The some of our shirts have lasted us. And it still looks decent.
Okay to us.
Exactly, right?
Absolutely.
It might not look okay to somebody else, but it still looks okay to us.
Case in point.
So exactly. And you can twist it, turn it, bend it millions of times.
Right.
Right. It doesn't tear. It doesn't break. It has super strength.
Yeah.
Right. And so people, I don't think, have really understood that versatility of it and used it as a material outside of making a piece of clothing. We've shown that this can now be taken into different industries like electronics or into medical and things like that, and still perform the role that it was intended to perform in that industry to the standards that they. I mean, I don't know whether you know this, but they are making what they call solar sails for
Yachts.
not yachts, for spaceships.
What?
Yeah,
Really?
to catch.
Okay.
It's
Wow.
a textile sail, right?
Wow.
And so you can do things like that with this technology, and so therefore, just as a person in this industry, I'm really happy that we can elevate the industry in total. To show that it's not just that bottom end cheap labor.
Obviously, clearly indicating the fact that, like you said, it from the outside looks like a very stagnant industry. There's really nothing much you can do. What can you do? You just create a T-shirt, you create a shirt, and that's about it.
Yeah.
You wear it, doesn't matter what it is. But then,
I mean, on and off, you hear about how MAS is involved in all the big brands and how it's won in the Olympics, how it's in the swimming competition.
but do you? I mean, we only hear about it from somebody who works at MAS.
Or in somebody internationally.
Yeah,
I think
but
that the wins need to be really communicated.
For sure, for sure. One thing I want to ask you, Ranil, is innovation is all about pushing boundaries, right? Now, when you push boundaries, that means you are actually changing from the norm.
Yes.
Lots of people don't like change. So how do you sort of build a positive culture that drives innovation?
So I break it down into so what happens is when people take something, when you and I disagree, we can take it to a very personal level.
Yeah.
Right.
So in innovation or in anything, what I say is that we have differences of opinion. And the good thing about innovation or science or whatever that we're using is that we can go out there and say, okay, there is a hypothesis we have made. You can say, people won't like this.
Right.
I can say, no, I think they like it.
Right.
So we can really quickly conduct an experiment.
Right.
Without really spending a lot of money. So we now, a lot of our ideas, what we do is we don't even make it.
Yeah.
Right? We create landing pages, advertise on Facebook, drive traffic to it, and we try and get people to see whether they'll buy it.
Right.
But that's just an opinion, right? Without seeing a product.
Without seeing a product.
Yeah,
so
just the idea.
We just describe the product, put a picture or something like that, right? And just describe it.
Yeah.
And drive different types of traffic to that, and we get a quick read. It probably costs us, I don't know, $700, $800 to do a test like that.
Right.
And then my difference is now proven, right? So whatever the evidence that comes out, we follow through with it.
Absolutely.
Right.
So like that, we are conducting a series of experiments, right? Around, so anything that you can say this customer wants to pay this, right? We can quickly conduct especially with technology that is there today, we can quickly conduct a test in market, understand whether people are willing to pay that. And also we can, so when we do these landing pages, we drive different amounts of traffic to it. Today we'll be claiming that, it dries fast. Tomorrow we'll be claiming that it lasts longer. It's the same product, but we can make different claims and see what actually excites people about it.
Yeah.
Then we know what people are willing to pay for. So I can take the drying out, right? And the lasting long technology I keep, and the drying fast I take out, because I can engineer cost out of it. So then as an entrepreneur, I can get a lot of feedback and do that. So to your point, it's healthy to have disagreement.
Yeah, of course.
Right, yeah, of
Right?
course, yeah.
Around something that you're doing for the first time and that you don't know it. But what you try to do is to take the personalities or the egos out of that decision.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. So what we do is we have a very flat structure. Anyone in that organization has an equal right to speak. Many people are encouraged even to challenge me.
Absolutely, yeah.
Most times I go into a meeting saying, I really don't know what we're talking about.
Right.
Right. I'm no expert in this.
Yeah.
Right. But
It's all new to at any point, yeah.
at any point, right?
Yeah.
So you only deal with the evidence. So that's on one side. And then, but of course, within the organization, you will have detractors who will, say that you're,
Nothing's going to work.
nothing's going to
Yeah,
work.
but I call them the can't be done fellows. Edison tat කිව්වා, Einstein tat කිව්වා හරියන්නේ. ඕක
They're in every corporate.
අර දොස්තර හොඳ හිතේ චව් චව් වගේ. ඕක හරියන්නේ නැහැ. මං කියවනේ ඕක හරියන්නේ නැහැ.
And, you asked me that question, so when getting these kinds of awards,
Yeah.
sometimes helps with those.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
for sure.
Right?
Because see, this is like proof literally on the table.
Yes.
So, but I just realized when, actually when Shaq asked the question, මේ අල්ලපු ගෙදර ඉඩම් වලත් ඉන්නවා innovators ලා. මොකද it's all about pushing boundaries. මොකද holiday එකට ගිහිල්ලා the boundary wall has moved 2 feet. Innovation plus.
I think probably the biggest problem in this country.
Too many innovators like that. So,
Ranil,
anyway.
sometimes innovations actually fail because you are sort of, it's like you're creating a solution looking for a problem.
So, there was a time we were doing that.
Okay.
We've changed that now.
Okay.
What happened was, especially we built some technology solutions which were a bit too futuristic.
Right.
And at that point, we were really looking for a problem and where we had a solution.
Right.
We changed that now to being completely opportunity driven.
Right.
And even if you're doing a tech innovation, now we have a thing called business readiness level where we go from sort of 1 to 8 as we sort of develop the business. So from your initial hypothesis saying there is a need for this in the market.
Right.
And then you go and sort of validate that, then you make a sample. So like that, you sort of develop it over a period of time and over these stages. So that really helps us to take away that, again, it's a personality thing, right? Now, if I say, I think this technology is good, Machan, let's go after that.
Right.
Right? Because I saw it somewhere or something like that. I go on some trip and make a balan, or I just send my team off to do it. I have now taught them, when they look at it, then they will also look around it and say, Ranil, this guy has come with this and saying this, but there are this and this and this which are equally or better than what they're saying.
Correct.
So then I'm like, okay, let's assess everything and see whether it solves a problem,
Right.
identified opportunity,
Right.
or is it just that we are excited as techies that there is a new tech?
Exactly. Because
Absolutely.
for the longest time, there was this whole idea of, especially when you're getting into innovation, companies of innovations, the idea was more on the attitude of build it and they will come sort of thing. Now, thankfully, it's actually changed.
At least in our
Right.
scenario.
Okay.
I have wasted a lot of money in MAS's money, at least in developing solutions to problems that didn't exist.
Right.
Or that the problems that people weren't willing to pay for.
Or in anticipation, they'll come up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
And so what we did was that original, when I started innovation at MAS in 2006, we started as a complete tech role.
Right.
What we did in 2013 was really to bring in the business people and the finance people. So now any project has tech people, business people and finance people, all three working together. and each one has the same voice. One project could be led by the tech guy, the other one by one of the others too. But we start off with a small team. And every project starts off like that, and you're constantly looking, is there really a business opportunity? Can we make money out of it? And can we really solve it to whichever level we can?
Ranil, I just want to ask this, like now innovations outside of your organization. For instance, let's say someone from Moroto University invents something which you think is, wow, this is very, very viable for our business plan. What do you do?
So we've had a few things where people have innovation. Most of the time, people are scared to show it to us.
Right.
They try to talk about it, and they then they also don't understand that there is a lot that has to go on between. I think inventing something is probably the easiest thing to do. In that, with respect, in order to take something to market, right? Between the invention and it going to market and being a successful product in a market, there are, so I always say, if inventing costs you X in time and Y in money, it'll cost you about 100X in time and 100X in money. Maybe 10X in time and 100X in money.
To take it to market.
Right. There's a lot that has to go between that. And so people, a lot of people here, I find that the inventors don't understand that. And so they are expecting that, my thing is worth, it will go into every garment, therefore, a billion garments, and therefore,
they're immediately
I need
thinking
so much money. Sort of not really appreciating the investment, the work that has to go between taking that.
Absolutely. But have you, as your company or MAS, bought innovations like that?
Straight up, I think one.
Right, okay.
We've had some offers, people have come, and when I've actually sat down with them and said, okay, now show me what your invention is, they're like, we can't show it to you, we won't show it to you, because I'm like, you're promising that. So during the pandemic, it's like I have a 5-layer mask that can not just stop the virus, it can kill the virus, it can do something else. Someone came and made that offer. And then I'm like, okay, so tell me a little bit about, these 5 layers and what each one does. Sorry, I can't tell you that, right? So then I have to trust that person, and then, how do I make a deal without knowing it's even working?
Well, is it this whole, big corporate culture sort of thing that if I give out whatever I know, it might be basically taken to market the next day. But they don't realize the fact that it doesn't happen like that.
Yes, I think there is a gap. I think universities, I say this again with respect to people in the universities, because we have quite a few people from universities working with us. They carry around really big pocketfuls of invention that they are scared to put out there, thinking that someone else is going to steal it.
Right.
My philosophy is that anyway, it has been developed with government money or Sri Lanka's money, and I think one of the things that we should be doing is taking all this money that we've invested in universities and all that and making it available free for Sri Lankan industry. Right? If one industry is able to improve themselves by 10%, and we have that happening across, we can increase our GDP by 10% without really spending any new money.
Yeah, absolutely. Sure.
Right?
I mean, I'll give you the example is, I think, Volvo. Because when they invented the 3-point seat belt, they didn't. They gave it freely to the world. Just to save lives.
Exactly.
So I think that's a really wonderful thing. I mean, it's just not too much greed going around anyway for the world to be healthy at this point. So
no, but we had a similar situation with University of Colombo.
Right.
I met this gentleman. He's a lecturer. I met him at some function. And I was at the back having a beer, and he came and, he was next to me, and we were chatting, and he's a physicist. And he said, why don't you come and see what we do? I went there, and he showed me this thing where he took some, I think like a cup of tea or something like that, and he had a little test tube like this, poured this into that, and from the other end, like clean water came out.
Wow.
Right? And I was like, oh, really good. Shall we shall we try and work on it? Because so what he was doing was he was working in another industry, the aluminium industry in Sri Lanka, which has a lot of waste,
Yeah.
Right.
aluminium waste.
Yeah.
And they were trying to figure out what to do because they had to destroy it, and
Yeah.
it was costing them a lot of money. So they had come to him. He found that it could be used as a filtering mechanism, and it. So then we treat a lot of water before we let it out, and we
Yeah.
have to buy a lot of chemicals and things. So we then came together, and what we did was we used his technology to separate the dye stuff and all the chemicals, etc., from our water. Took that sediment, put it into our burner boiler to fire our boilers. The ash that came out of it, we converted that into a brick, right? That we used to pave the roads. And we gave that technology free to anyone who wanted it.
Wow.
Right? Because again, like you said, it's something that's doing good.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
It's taking someone else's waste and
Absolutely.
making that
Especially
happen. So,
something large scale like that, which can benefit the whole of humanity.
That's right.
Yeah. Why make money off that?
yeah, there's no reason to. I think what we try not to be is, I mean, if you're in business, you have to make money in
true.
order to sustain yourself, right? And give employment and create opportunities, all that. That's part of it, but not every time you deal with something does it always need to make you money. So
Yeah.
I think that sort of finding that a sweet spot where you're actually helping industry, etc., and science and helping other industries.
Yeah,
and things like
absolutely.
that I think
Especially a country like ours, where actually needs a lot of help for a lot of other industries to get where they are going. Maybe, maybe 10, 20 years down the line as it matures, yes, everyone can take a.
This reminds me of our science day when we used to have it in school. Everyone's supposed to. You should do something like that. I'm just telling you, right? I mean,
just actually, just have an innovation day where the public can,
and it's just for you. It's just for you, and then at the end of the day, listen, if we like it, we'll buy it, and let's work together.
So we have that. I mean, we.
Oh, you do.
We have that with the universities. They invite us, and then we go there and we check some of it. So one of the things that happen in our education system, our universities are not really built as research institutes. They are more teaching institutes, right?
Yeah.
So what we find is that when we give a project, there's such a high turnover of the students, because they are in their third year, they do that work, and then we say, okay, now we need to refine it a little bit more. Then the person who did it is now missing. Right? So a new person comes, and then they have a timeline because they have to do their finals and all that. So out of that year, we might, if you're lucky, we'll get 2 to 3 months of their time.
Right.
So it's very difficult to do that. Like, we don't have postdocs who are in industry related research.
Yeah, they mostly go out of the country, right?
A lot of them go out of the country to do their PhD, especially the better students.
But it's been, I mean,
But I know that MAS, lots of the bigger companies have finance research arms in the university.
Of course.
Yeah,
Yes.
especially in Moratuwa, I've seen it.
So Moratuwa, we do it in Colombo University. We are doing some work with Peradeniya.
Yeah.
We feel that our success really is going to be determined on Sri Lankan scientific community also stepping up and really helping us to get to that next level.
Right.
We worked with Colombo University recently on a research to develop something which I think is groundbreaking, and we got the first patent, international patent that was ever got by Colombo University.
Oh,
wow.
As a result of the work that we did with them.
Yeah.
So that was, I mean, I'm proud to say that, our
absolutely.
guys, so if we can truly define what we want, they can generally step up and do it.
Absolutely, because there are so many diverse, brilliant minds out there, and I think what you said earlier, having a culture where disagreement is allowed, Because I think the worst thing for an entrepreneur, an innovator, or just a general businessman, anyone who wants to go, or creative process for them, is to have a lot of yes men or yes women around. Yes sir, no sir, 3 bags full sir, that's as far as you're going to go. If you're constantly challenged, you need this, right? And you have to accept that there is brilliance out there.
We're actually into the last minute of the show.
Oh, seriously? I didn't feel the time.
That's how we roll. Just one final question, Ranil, before we take a break and getting into our poll. If you could go back and change one decision that you've made as a CTO, right? What would it be?
It was a technology that we had, which I still believe is very strong, but we handed it off too early.
Okay.
And MAS invested a lot of money, actually almost $5 million on that tech. We were also going through a bit of a transition at the time, and so we sort of more or less threw it over the wall at one of our businesses, and we went off on our way. What I've learned is that to make something successful, we have to hold hands together, take it. So, especially if it's like complex technology, you might have to do that for 5, 6, 7 years so that it gets going smoothly. And so, if I had to change something, the reason is that it set back our innovation journey within the organization because we had a fairly large failure.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
We tried to fail much. I would say much earlier than that.
Right. Okay.
So we innovation, right? Not everything that you do is.
Of course. It's a lot of trial and error. So what happens now, Ranil? I mean, now you've got the award. So does this happen every year? This
No. I mean, the award happens every year, but we applied and we don't want to apply for it again. I mean, we've got it now, and so we can sort of flaunt it for a while.
Scratch your back.
Put a shine Okay.
So we are using it really to attract people, to make people also feel that there is something in this country that that is great about it.
Absolutely.
We can create that differentiator in the world. We can be as good as anyone else. Use it to sort of pump it up a little bit as far as people is concerned, and also try and attract the right kind of talent to come to
absolutely,
work with us.
And show the world. It's not all doom and gloom here.
No.
Absolutely, better than Google, more innovative than Google.
All right, we need to take a quick break right now. Come back, of course. We've got the answer to the poll that everybody watching on the show right now has sent their answers to. We'll take a break. We'll be back right after this.
Welcome to the universe of the Raz, where you explore and discover whatever you want, whatever you need. All you can imagine is on your feet. When miles are abridged, happiness is unlocked. Discover your Daraz.
A meal isn't just food. It's hope, nourishment, and love. And right now, we need it all. Presenting Love Uber Eats, a platform to donate essential items to those in need. Send preset ration packs on Uber Eats, and we will match every donation and deliver it with love.
Corporate events, weddings, concerts, or simply getting fueled with your QR code. Let us help you take your big day to the world with a professional broadcast to Facebook, YouTube, Zoom, MS Teams, or your website at the most affordable rates. So give us a call and let's go live. PodHub.
Right, we are back. So earlier in the show, at the beginning of the show, this was the poll that we came up with. You'll see it on your screen right now. Do international awards for large Sri Lankan corporate entities translate into increased foreign currency income to the nation? Yes or no answers only, and you were supposed to WhatsApp your answers to our hotline 077-669-1590. So these are your responses, but before that, what do you say to this?
I have to say yes, so that the big corporate keeps funding me. But no, for sure it does, because what we're trying to do is we're trying to change the equation in around how much we earn, how much we can demand.
Right.
Right. I have a much bigger explanation as to how we become the restaurant with the biggest queue outside. That most people want to eat. So that means that you can increase the price, you can get a better return, things like that. So for that reason, very much so, yes.
හැබැයි queue එකේ ඉන්නකොට ඔය Uber Eats එකෙන් ඇවිල්ලා deliver කරන්න පුළුවන් කෑම ඒකෝද? එතනම
Uber Eats එකකට හදා ඉන්න හින්දා තමයි අනිත් අයට දෙන්න බෑ.
ඇවුනා නේද ඒක? Right. Okay, so this is your response.
Straight up response.
40%.
40%.
The international awards for large Sri Lankan corporate entities translate into increased foreign currency income to the nation. You know, I had because I kind of figured that this was going to happen because we think it's going to be 80-90% who think this, right?
Yeah.
But there are a lot of entities in this country which actually claim to be the best in their respective field as endorsed by X international magazine or Y international magazine, and this keeps happening year on year.
Yeah.
But the thing is, whether this translates into what about me? What does it mean to me as the consumer of this brand?
Right.
There is really no, you know, it's just a prestige thing.
Yeah.
So when it comes, so obviously, but you know, MAS, you know, is a different entity altogether, which brings a massive amount of foreign currency into the country. And this, in this context, I personally feel that yes, this kind of international recognition is just going to, because you know why? Your international partners are going to think, all right, man, way to go.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is everyone watching right now, of course, are laymen at the end of the day. And when you actually pose this question to them, it's like you said, what does it do to me?
Yeah,
it's not gonna,
because for a lot of brands, especially, that's why, you know, that's probably why there is not much PR communication from MAS, because your market is not here. It's just a feel-good factor.
That's true. That's true.
It's like a, you know, proud to be Sri Lankan kind of moment, but it really doesn't translate into more. But of course, I think brand building for you to attract the right kind of talent, it can work.
That's really the where we use it.
Yeah.
I think a lot of banks, especially if you look at it, I don't know, 4 banks might be claiming they're the best bank in this, and you know.
Oh
So I guess that kind of award then starts losing its
allure,
shine
you know.
a little bit,
Absolutely,
Like for example, I mean, every radio station is number 1.
Mysterious.
Just before we actually wind up the show, Ranil, something I think Anu and I really strongly feel about is what we had spoke about during the conversation. The stuff that MAS has done to the world should come out, Ranil. I mean, it should to the world right now, because yes, like you said, it is directly to your customers. They know about it. And they're like, yes, thank you very much. It's good. We're coming back to you again for the next order. But the world should know that, you know, Sri Lankans can produce something like this.
And especially
innovation.
When you have global icons like maybe Serena Williams, Roger Federer, Michael Phelps, you name it, Usain Bolt, you know, wearing the stuff that MAS actually manufactures.
Exactly.
I mean, it's got a different brand name on it, and obviously they are your partners, you know, that you're manufacturing for, and you've been doing it for decades.
Yes.
Right. That's
so for sure. And I think we are getting better at it now than we were in the past. So if you follow us on Instagram, you know, MAS or Twinery or something like that, you start seeing a lot more of, you know, the wins that we have, etc.
Absolutely.
Mass media, not so much now.
Right.
Maybe also we have 2 audiences, right? The Sinhala speaking audience that really comes and works at our plants, etc., for whom we might be giving a different story to sort of maybe the more English-speaking community, a slightly different story. But we are getting better at it.
But Ranil, I've always felt, you know, I work in advertising too, and I always felt that if you want to communicate with SEC A and B, you can do it in Sinhala and Tamil too. It is how you say it. You know, it doesn't necessarily have to be English. So that it's, you know, this aspiration value is built into your island nation. Aspiration is actually beyond the island, right? It's actually a lot more larger than actual Sri Lanka is. And so if you say the right things in Sinhala or Tamil, it really, really resonates well with everyone.
But marketing, you know, having the kind of that kind of thing hasn't been a big part of MAS in the past, but now we are having it. And so you start seeing a little bit more traction probably around it.
You need to turn that radar off. Even below the radar, just turn it off. All right. Thank you very much, Ranil. Thank you so much for coming on the show. It's an absolute pleasure.
Ranil, it's been a long time, since we last had a long chat like this.
Good fun as always on the show. Thank you so much for being a part of the show. Tomorrow we got another fantastic guest coming in, and we'll be back with you tomorrow night at 9:30.
Absolutely. And for all those innovative neighbors out there, don't push the boundary, because that's your boundary wall. Take care. Bye-bye.
Good night.
Powered by
Discover your Daraj.
Presenting Love Uber Eats, a platform to donate essential items to those in need.